Hello everyone, and welcome to part 8 of What If the Rescue Bots were placed on Team Prime. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So this part starts off with the Nemesis warship heading towards the Decepticon space bridge, and Megatron and Dreadwing head to Cybertron to claim Liege Maximal's arm so that Megatron could get an edge on the Starsaber and this new Prime that the Autobots have. Meanwhile, back at the Autobot base, the first team is selected to go after the first Omega Key, and that being Smokescreen and RC, just like in canon. And Megatron actually appears, but there's one key thing in this what if. Smokescreen was never shown to get the phase shifter because he wasn't that reckless. And so, when Megatron uses the Dark Starsaber and swooshes it at Smokescreen, he actually dies in this what if. As sad as it is, guys, it's true. In this universe, Smokescreen never had the urge to use the phase shifter at all. So, it was inevitable, to be honest. And with Wheeljack being the one to basically find him, he was matured really quick. And Megatron is more relentless, killing Ratchet, destroying the Autobot space like that, and killing off Optimus. This Megatron is more willing to kill. Just like in canon, RC is sent back to Autobot base and informs the Autobots of Smokescreen's death. The Autobots who get the most upset about this are Bulkhead, since Smokescreen is a wrecker in this universe and they developed a really good relationship, and Blur and Salvage, who were his best friends back at the academy, with the four of them getting ready to go to fight Megatron and claim the Omega Key, with Hideous Prime stopping them and saying that he will be the one to go and face Megatron. And soon enough, he sets out and encounters Megatron with the Dark Starsaber. Hideous Prime then says, "Megatron, what have you done? Where did you get that?" And he's like, This is a gift from the Primes. That's right, your predecessors. Optimus would be proud of me for burying this, would he?" And that is when Hideous Prime charges at him with the Starsaber, and so does Megatron with the Dark Starsaber, and they have a clash, just like how Optimus and Megatron did in canon. And I'm gonna do a little something different here. Heatwave actually manages to destroy the Dark Starsaber, just like how Megatron destroyed the Starsaber in canon. Hideous Prime now has Megatron at his knees. Soon enough, they see Arachnid walk out of the pyramid, and she has the Omega Key in her hand. Hideous Prime then turns his attention away from Megatron and runs at Arachnid, trying to get the Omega Key, but Arachnid transforms and flies away. He then turns his attention back to Megatron, but Megatron is smiling, and then he transforms and flies away. Now one Omega Key is in the hands of the Decepticons. Bulkhead and Bumblebee move in to get the second key, but soon they encounter Knockout and Redwing, with Redwing going after Bulkhead and Bumblebee about to go after Knockout, but that's when Knockout whips out the Resonance Blaster and blasts Bumblebee, and Bulkhead turns his attention to Knockout, but is also blasted by the Resonance Blaster. And then they both, later on, wake up to see the Omega Key gone. 2 Omega Keys are now in the hands of the Decepticons. So now we get to the third Omega Key, and these are all the people fighting for it. Dreadwing leads the Coneheads, shooting up, doing like an airstrike on all of the Autobots, with a barrage of missiles hitting everybody. That's when Boulder, Chase, and Blades tell Blur and Salvage to go after the last Omega Key, that they've got this. And soon enough, Blur and Salvage make their way to the final Omega Key. And fun fact, they actually get it with no interference because there's no Starscream going rogue. And he doesn't have the red energon because it's within Blur. So Blur then says, race it back to the others. And then he zooms off in the red energon back to the gang, leaving Salvage alone. And Salvage is like, Blur, that's not fair. You have... But then someone knocks him out from behind. He then wakes up in the Nemesis. Knockout then says, wakey wakey, Autobot. Salvage then says, what am I doing here? Let me go. Megatron then walks up to Salvage. Not until you tell us the purpose of these relics. Salvage then says, I'm never gonna tell you, Megatron. Megatron then says, well, fortunately, I do not need you to tell me. But your mind will tell me. And soon enough, Megatron learns the truth. Behind the Omega Key's true power, the regeneration of Cybertron as I see fit. Patch in and tear apart Salvage's mind if you must. The remaining 2 Omega Keys will be mine. Soundwave then walks in, and he has located the last Omega Key. And it shows a blueprint of Salvage. He's the final Omega Key in this universe. He has it within him. Megatron smiles and orders Knockout to take out the final Omega Key. Knockout then takes out his drill and scares Salvage just like how he scared Smokescreen and Cannon. He then opens up his chest, accessing where all of his trash is, and then he reaches his hand and soon enough, he grabs the final Omega Key and yanks it out. Megatron then says, ah yes, the 3rd Omega Key is in my grasp. We must locate the last one. Tear in and tear apart his mind if you must. For good. We then get back to the Autobot base, where they have just returned without Salvage. He just disappeared. Buller left him, racing him back to the others, but when he went back, he was just gone. And the only logical conclusion is that he was captured by the Decepticons. But why would they want him? But that's when Boulder shows them something. And it's the coordinates for the last Omega Keys, but it's a mugshot of Salvage. The Autobots are like, oh no. Meaning, he already has 3 and they have 1. And who knows? They could have gotten into Salvage's mind with the cortical sidekick patched and learned what the true purpose of the Omega Keys is. So how are they going to get Salvage and those Omega Keys? And that's when Hideous Prime walks up to the controls. Before Optimus passed, in case of an emergency, he gave me this contact in case we need some more expertise. He then presses a button which sends a signal into deep space, where a bot picks up Heatwave's communication signal and then relays the message over to someone else to arrive on her signal. Yes, I know this part was short, but to be honest, I'm changing this ending a little bit. And that's where I'm going to leave it off here, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed part 8, and I'll see you guys in part 9.